Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday morning, which I don't know. Sometimes they feel harder than Mondays, let's be honest. But I'm here. We made it. Grab coffee. Let's connect for a couple minutes, check in, see how it's going. See what else is happening in your world. What do you know? Yeah, I'm just going to give people another minute. Please say hello in the comments as you join us this morning and connect for a couple minutes. It's the end of September. It's so crazy. Time goes by so fast, so fast, so fast. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, Jenny. It just seems like it's hard to keep up with all the things that were going on. Hey, did anybody see Jupiter in the sky last night? Did you get any pictures? Feel free to share them in the comments. It was kind of cool. We talked about the uniqueness of Jupiter in our meditation class last night, which I think was really cool, along with the energy of the new moon, which was on Sunday night, technically. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Kelly. So it was a really, I don't know, it's been a very planetary, astrological, astronomical couple of days. I don't know about you, but I don't know if it was like all the planets aligning or all of the elements that were going on. But yesterday was not my greatest day. I had a tough one yesterday. I think it's important for us to be honest in our conversations that we have up days and down days. And yesterday, for whatever reason, was a down day. And it started out really well. And I'd got up early and did a meditation with my friend Chelsea, who is the one that you've met here on Coffee Club that got me hooked into meditating and guided me towards getting certified to become a teacher myself. And I love her virtual meditations. She does a Zoom on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and it was great. And it started out so good. But for whatever reason, there were just things that I felt grumpy about yesterday. And if you know me, good morning, Jared. Good morning, Angie. I don't get grumpy very often. I can be sarcastic, I can be crunchy, but I don't get grumpy very often. And I just was feeling so irritated by so many things yesterday. And that really just activated me to feel shitty about everything, even things that like aren't even shitty. Have you had days like that? I would love to hear from you in the comments where, and you just know, I think that's the worst part is you are so aware that you are acting ridiculous. So you tell yourself in the moment and you feel like you're spiraling and you feel like everything's coming to this giant header when really everything is fine. But it takes all day sometimes to come to that realization, or it might even take you longer, and that's okay. And it's funny because I like to pull myself out of those situations and be like, okay, what really activated me to feel that way? What really was happening? What was really feeling like? What were the things that were underlying underneath the grumpiness that were allowing me to feel that way? What were those pieces? And taking time yourself to go to that inward journey to be like, what were those things? And it was interesting in our meditation class last night, we talked a lot about sort of the energy around this new moon, and with it being going into, I believe it's going into Libra, if you follow astronomy and no, astrology. I always get those two mixed up. The scientists of the world freak out. But it was a lot to do with relationships, and the energy around this moon was a lot, or is a lot, to do with how the relationship you have with yourself is actually reflected in other people. Now, there's lots of terminology that's been thrown around about that, like mirroring and different things, and that can mean a number of different things. But it's just really creating some self-awareness in the things that bug you in other people. This was a big message from last night. The things that bug you in other people are actually things that require some reflection into yourself, because maybe there's pieces of you that fall into that place that require some extra healing or some challenge work or some love, right? And it's the people who irritate us the most are often our biggest teachers. And so sometimes it's hard to look at that right on, because if you think of a person who's irritating you or a person who drives you a little bit mad, it's hard to look at that person to be like, okay, what do I need to see in myself from that? Because you don't want to see those qualities in your own self at all, right? Doesn't that feel gross? But boom, learning. How does that sit with you today? And yeah, I think that there's a lot of those pieces. So it's just a lot of an opportunity right now as we head into fall. Right. I always love, good morning, Kevin. I always love the symbolism of fall that shows us exactly how to let go. Right. You see all the memes about it and the inspiring quotes everywhere and all that shit that makes you be like, oh, yeah, okay. But really, just like think about it for a moment and watch a tree. Right. Like you think of, they've spent the entire spring and summer season growing the leaves, perfecting what they look like, becoming this beautiful, luscious tree. And then come fall, they do this beautiful color change. They allow change to come in. Okay, I realize they're trees, but go with me with the symbolism here for a moment. And then they just let all the leaves fall, just leave, because they know there's going to be new ones in the spring. And imagine how, what would the word be here? Imagine how amazing, because I don't have the other word at the moment, it would be for us in a moment. Because I think for a lot of us, right, when change is occurring in our life and change starts to happen, we don't trust that the goodness is on the other side because we don't know. We have the fear of that unknown. We have the fear of the elements of not knowing what happens next. We don't feel safe sometimes in that change because we're not sure what's on the other side. And so we hesitate that and we resist that. And we don't want to go change to the other side because we don't trust that there's new leaves coming. But what if we did? What if we could let go of things, trusting that the beauty is on the other side of it? Would you be more apt to change, or would you still want to stay in those pieces? Like, it's interesting the way we dance with that. I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts or how you're feeling, or if you've had those days where, it feels like the train is going off the track and you're plummeting to the bottom of the ravine, but you're not. Your train's just dangling there and you pull it back in the next day. Like, I feel good today. I feel solid today. I feel joyful today. I'm enjoying my cup of coffee more than ever today. But yesterday was a shit day. It was a really shit day. And it was emotional. And I felt weepy for no reason. Like, there's just fluctuations in that. But instead of just pretending like every day is sunshine and roses, we connect with each other and we be honest in what that looks like. And I had a friend who had to give me a ride back to my vehicle, and I was just like, I'm not doing okay today. When jumps in the car, hey, how's it going? I'm like, you know what? I'm not the greatest today. And she didn't try to fix it and she didn't try to change it. She just was like, well, tell me what's going on. And I'm like, I don't even know. It's this, this, and this. And she's like, you know what? I'm feeling that way today too. And we could have this moment. But if I just said, yeah, I'm good, or it's fine, what do you think? Chelsea, good morning, my lovely. Angie said she saw Jupiter last night. Anybody else see Jupiter last night? Okay, so can we talk about chains? We'll shift. Keep going. If you're typing into the comments to share, let me know. And just recognizing together that some days are crappy and some days are beautiful, but we're going to get through all of them together. the cool thing about Jupiter last night, if you like astronomy, is this was the closest this planet has been to Earth since 1951. Now, I kind of nerd out on fun facts like this, and you should have been able to. I live in an area where you can't see squat. It's a big complex. You can't really see anything. I really wish now I would have took a drive and went and looked at it. But what I'm told is you could see Jupiter with binoculars, even you could see the rings and possibly the four moons surrounding Jupiter. Really cool that it's this close, and this is the closest it's been since 1951. It's supposed to be back this close again in 59 years or something like that. So my son was just like, "Oh, well, I'll be able to see that again, mom, but I don't know about you." Mortality is grounding, isn't it? Anyway, what I like about when you look at things to do with astronomy, I love to hear the fun facts of astrology. Does that make sense? So I like to look up the other interesting things that surround when we have, because as you know me, if you're following Coffee Club, I am a selenophile, which means I'm obsessed with the moon. I feel like my life is run by the moon. I'm also a Cancer in astrological signs, and so that makes you a moon child. So I'm obsessed with the moon and the energies that come around moon cycles and all of the things. So I looked up some interesting things about Jupiter. And what was cool is that what it brings, the energy that it brings to the table is highlighting ethics and morals and mental well being and your physiological well being and all of these different things. And it brings into these big movement type energy into wanting to stand in what is right, what is ethical, what is good, what is all of these things. And I don't have my notes in front of me to give you all the right words of it, but the gist of it was this. And then when you look at history, movements that occurred from the 1950s onward in that Jupiter energy was the civil rights movement, was the start of the feminist movement. It was a big push through the late 50s into the 60s of anti-violence and, yeah, peace and love, right? Those were the big movements. So for me, I find it one, interesting, like, oh, that's kind of cool. Two, optimistically thinking, okay, our next decade forward, where are we at with movements that would be similar to this? So we already know that as a society, as a community, and I think for a lot of us as individuals, we're all in this transitional phase within ourselves of feeling like we want to stand up for what's right. We are activated by what we stand for, what it means, how we want to encourage inclusivity with other people. Some people are not there. Not everybody is. Not everyone you meet will. But I know for me personally, I have felt a connection and tie to Indigenous community and the inclusion and the love of Indigenous people across the world really matters to me in this moment. The Black Lives Matter movement matters to me in this moment. Supporting our 2S LGBTQ plus community is really important to me, right? Those movement type things. And so it'll be curious to see what kind of movement happens along that Jupiter energy, if at all. I mean, who knows? They say history repeats itself, but I think it repeats itself with changes. So, what does that look like? Could be interesting. The next month, if we go back into that new moon energy and going to in our inward journey to raise the awareness of ourselves, right? Taking that time to really reflect on what relationship you have with self, how that's reflecting in relationship with others, and working on that intention for the next month of what that looks like. Could be kind of interesting. Chelsea shares, I appreciate when people are honest, make space to share their true feelings without judgment because life is hard. When I think the thing that's interesting is when it comes to judgment, is No one in this world is going through life without a challenge, a mistake, a regret, a lesson, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I hope that you're not going through life with many regrets because I hope you just see the beautiful lessons you're learning in this process. Sidebar. But no one is going through life unscathed. There is not a single person. So when judgment comes in, it's interesting because judgment really comes from their own place. It has nothing to do with you at the end of the day. So have an amazing day, Daryl. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to read your comment in a moment. So much love to you. No one, like the judgment is coming from their reaction into their own selves at the end of the day. So judgment is really irrelevant, I guess you could say, at the end of the day. But our ego protects us and wants us to be protected from that judgment. So we sometimes don't share because ego says, oh, like, I don't know if you should share that because you're going to, like, that person's probably going to judge you back and that's going to feel even worse than you feel right now. It's a protection thing. Push through it. Share it anyway. I love it. Daryl shares, good morning from Pasco. I don't even know how I would say that. Anyway, Washington. It's a weird feeling, but sometimes when I feel like I'm having a blah day and I come across the line to the US, I feel like I've left all my troubles behind and I'm rejuvenated. Yeah, leave your baggage in Canada and go to the US. I feel like I'm on a mini holiday, even though I'm working. I love that because sometimes I think what it boils down to, in my opinion of this reading, Daryl, because I know that I did this on the weekend, is when you change your scenery, you change perspective. You can change a mindset. You can change how something feels. And so I stayed out at a friend's ranch over the weekend, and it was just a change of scenery. I didn't really go anywhere else. I didn't really do anything. But because I was in a different space with a different view, my mindset shifted. I was completely relaxed. I could turn off the rest of the world. Nothing mattered for those 2 days, but it waited for me when I got back yesterday and I had to sit in that crap day and worked through it. And now it feels like a good day. But yeah, if you feel like, I love that idea, Daryl, is just for anybody. If you feel like you're stuck in that space, if you have the opportunity, change the scenery for a day. Even if it's like crashing at a friend's place, or if you can, rent a hotel room even for a night and go and stay in a different space. Just take a minute. Our weather in Alberta, sending so much love to our friends on the East Coast and those who tune into Virtual Coffee Club in the East Coast. You have some cleanup and you've had some scary days, and we send so much love to you. But if you can, in Alberta, for sure, I think BC and kind of the prairie provinces, we have some beautiful weather for this end of September. If you could get out into nature or even to camp one night, that change of perspective, that change of scenery can be super beneficial. Good morning, Pamela. So, yeah, exciting things going on. Coffee Club this week, FYI. I'll put a post about it, but just for those of you who are still hanging out, we're going to be today, obviously, tomorrow, and Thursday. We won't be doing Coffee Club on Friday morning in respect of Truth and Reconciliation Day, as well as Orange Shirt Day. I'm going to not do any broadcast that day and to take it as an opportunity to do some reflection on how I can be a better ally to those communities. And I hope that you will do the same. So we will proceed today, tomorrow, and Thursday for Coffee Club. And yeah, that's where that's sitting at. Tomorrow, we're planning a special guest to come in and have a deep conversation. I've experienced this month a friend who was going through a really dark space. And it just really highlighted for me the passion behind wanting to support our friends, our family, our neighbors, our brothers and sisters who are first responders in this world, and the incredible pressures that that job has, and lack of supports that has been in that. And it's not a place where we're going to bash that support system. It's a place where we're going to highlight what that looks like. And my guest tomorrow is going to chat about, he's done a lot of work in supporting first responders, especially to prevent suicide. And it's near and dear to my heart, especially this month. And September is also, oh, something fell over there. It scared me. September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. So we're going to have a little bit of a deeper conversation tomorrow, but I'm hoping that if you don't feel triggered by something like that, just a warning in advance, that you would come and join that conversation and how we can support people in our community for that, and just talk about PTSD and mental wellness and that kind of thing. And we're going to have a few of those conversations over the next while, because I think, like today, when I start off by sharing how yesterday just wasn't a good day, we have to really normalize the conversations. And not that we want to have continued conversations that are downers, but just recognizing when we're in that space and how we can support each other through that space, so it hopefully doesn't head to a really dark space. And that's kind of what I'm hoping that's looking like tomorrow. Chelsea shares, changing scenery is so the best. I'm taking off hiking with the dog. Perfect. Darlene says, I love the fall constellations and the sky so clear lately. Jupiter looks so big. Astrology is no longer a bit of interest of mine, but I like the positive messaging. I hope this day continues to be good. Thank you, Dar. Yeah, and I think, astrology is an interesting one, that you can really be so tied into it, or you can find interesting messages through it. So I wouldn't say I live my life based on what astrology tells me, because you never know who's really being the messenger of those things and what that looks like. But I like to see some of the fun elements and the positive messaging. I'm with you on that. So, all right, friends, hang in there. Have a beautiful day. If you're having a day where I did like yesterday, you're going to get through it, and hang in there. Just know that we are continually here to connect, lift each other up, and have great days. I am so excited that it's going to be another almost 30-degree day in September. It's like summer is extended. Thank you. And whenever we can have those beautiful hot days with these beautiful changing leaves, is that not just the most amazing combination? And then with the cool night, I think September, a lot of times going into October, is one of my favorite sections. But I can find a favorite in all the seasons. I really can. Sending you lots of love today, my friends. Cheers to you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And we will see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.